Hi, this is Susan Galanis from the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. This is a Blackboard Basics video tutorial that's going to take you through the steps of getting your course up and running. So first, we're going to log into Blackboard, and to find Blackboard Learn, you will type concordia.blackboard.com up here. And there's a couple other ways that you can find the Blackboard site. Another is if you go to the CUW webpage, and if you click on links, and then there's a link to Blackboard, and that's another way you can find it. And a third way is if you go to the portal and log in, under the Faculty tab, and also under Student Services tab and Accelerated Learning tabs for that matter, there's a Concordia Blackboard Learn channel. And currently the URL is listed on the channel, on the Blackboard channel. As of this recording, there isn't an icon up here in the upper right hand corner like there is for Angel. I'm sure there will be one coming soon. So I'm going to go back to Blackboard and I'm going to log in, and you'll log in using the same username and password that you do for Angel and for the portal. When you first log in, you'll be brought to what's called the My Institution page, and that's going to list, among other things, all your courses. And here, all of these little boxes are called modules, and you can move them around. You'll see in the right column near the bottom where all your courses are, where you're an instructor. And if you click right on the title, or near the title at the top, you can click and you can drag it. And you can move your courses front and center if you like. And then you'll find your list of courses. One other option that you might like is you can group your courses in a couple of different ways. If you go up here to the top, My Courses, on the right hand side, you'll see this little gear. Click on that gear. And here you'll see several options in terms of viewing or not being able to, or hiding some of your courses. The thing that I like the most is up here under Terms, is to group it by term. The first time you log into Blackboard Learn, it will not be grouped by term, and that's one of my favorite views. So if you click Group by Term and click Submit, then when you come back here to the My Institution page, then you'll see the terms listed. And once a term is over, if you don't want to view those courses anymore, you can just click on that term and it will collapse them. But we're going to go into this course right here, Susan's course example. And now this is the course homepage. To view course content and to navigate throughout your course, over here on the left is this column that's called the course menu, and there's a link called Content. And in Angel, there was the Lessons tab. Well, think of this content link as the Lessons tab. That's where you'll access this content pane, where once you start putting in your content, then you and your students will navigate to find it here. So we're going to add a couple of kinds of content, and the first one is to add a content folder. I've got a couple here, and I'm going to add one more, and you'll see this Build Content button. And by the way, if you don't see these buttons here, then take a look over here to the right where it says Edit Mode, that upper right corner. The edit mode should be on if you want to make any changes to your course, upload content, anything like that. Every once in a while you might look into your course and you can't add any content, you don't see those buttons. Take a look up here and your edit mode may have accidentally turned itself off. So you just click on it again, and now it's on, and here you see these buttons. The first one we're going to take a look at is this Build Content, and we're going to add a content folder. So you move your mouse to the right and click on Content Folder. And I'm just going to call my content folder Unit 4. So you'll type the title. Then if you had any additional instructions or clarification you wanted to provide to students, you could type it in the text box. And then here are some standard options you'll see with many of the items that you'll work with in Blackboard Learn. The default for a content folder is that users can view it, that the students can view this folder. If you wanted to make it hidden for some reason, you could just click No. I'm going to make it viewable. And then the other option that I wanted to draw your attention to is you could select a restricted date where this content would be open only during a certain time frame and then it would close. So you would click here and then change the dates when you wanted to open it and when it would close and not be viewable any longer. And again, I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm just going to make it viewable continuously. Then when you're done, you'll click Submit. And then here's the unit folder, the content folder that I just created. You can see that when I hover my mouse on that folder, you'll see this up and down arrows. And if you click and drag, then that's how you can reorder things. Another option is on the right here, the far right, it's got the up and down arrows. So if you click on that up and down arrows, it also shows these content items. Click on the one you wish to move and then just click the arrow, the up and down arrow to take it up or down. So that's adding a content folder. The next thing we're going to do is add a file. Probably something like your syllabus, or if you have a bio or something, more likely than not you're going to be uploading a file. So to do that, you'll go to Build Content again, and then you'll click on File on the left here. And I'm just going to call it a test file. Browse your computer to find it. And some options where you can have that file open in a new window. And again, these standard viewing options, a file is by default viewable to the students. You could change that, and again, make it open and close, available and not available during a certain time frame. When you're all done, click Submit. And then you see, here's the file that I just uploaded. Anytime you add content into your course, it will be added to the bottom of this larger content pane. Like I said before, if you can just reorder it by clicking and dragging, but you'll see this test file, I can't drag it into a folder. And if I wanted that document, that file, to be in a folder, I could first just click on the folder, and then I see these same buttons that I had before, and then I could just click and add my file. But in this case, and I'm going to go back to the content pane and get out of that folder. In this case, I added the folder before I clicked on Unit 4. I just forgot I wanted to put it in that Unit 4 folder. So I can move it. Here is the title of that document, and then you'll see that arrow, that drop-down arrow, and I can click on it. And I've got some options. I could delete it if I wanted to. I could edit it if I wanted to name it something else, or if I wanted to change the settings, I could edit. In this case, I want to move it, so I'm going to click on Move. And then I will click on Browse to pick a place where I want to move it to. And here I want to move it into my Unit 4 folder, so I clicked on that, and then click Submit. Now you can see that folder is gone. It's not at the bottom of the content pane anymore. And when I click on Unit 4, there it is, and I've moved it. So we've made a content folder, we've uploaded a file, and then I showed you how to move content around and move files into folders. So the next thing I want to show you is how to add a web link. And to do that, again, I'm going to go to this Build Content button again. And then I'm going to go here down on the left, about the middle of that box. I'm going to click on Web Link. And then I'll name it. Then it's going to ask for a URL. I recommend copying and pasting the URL right from that website. So I'm going to open a new tab here, and I want the Weather Channel. So I'm going to go to weather.com. And here's the website that I want. I can go up here, and I will right-click, and I'll copy that. And I'm going to go back to my course, click on that URL box, and right-click again, and I'm going to paste it. And that automatically included this HTTP and the slashes, which is a more stable URL to use, which is why I prefer to open up a tab and copy it and then paste it here. I can add some text instructions or descriptions if I want. I could browse my computer and add a file if I wanted to. For a web link, the default is to open in a new window, and I'll show you what that looks like. And again, these standard viewing options that I won't go over again. Once you're all done, then you click Submit. And now here you can see, with that world there, you know that's a link to the World Wide Web. And now I've added my web link. So I'm going to click on it just to open it. And then you can see at the top, it opened a new tab. So it opened it up into a new window, and it came right here to the weather.com. So that's adding a web link. And then the last type of content that we're going to do for this session is to create an assignment. In Angel, we call these drop boxes, and in Blackboard Learn, they call them assignments. And I'm giving them the title of Dropbox just for clarity, and you'll see what I mean as we go through to build this. So to create an assignment or a Dropbox, you'll hover your mouse over this second box here called Assessments, and you'll click on Assignment. And here I'm just going to call it Test Essay 4. And then I'm going to add Dropbox. Again, just have it. I can put instructions here for the students if I want. I can attach a file if I like. Here I can add a due date if I want. And by adding a due date, there is a module on the course homepage that's called a to-do list for students. And as this due date approaches, that it will show to the students and give them an indication that this assignment is coming due. So that's a real nice way to communicate with your student that deadlines are approaching. Then underneath that, under grading, then I'll put my points possible. So I'll enter in the number of points, and if I want, I can add a rubric, which I will address creating and adding rubrics in another video. Here we've got some options for submission details. And this first one is choosing whether or not it's an individual or a group assignment. And I can choose a single or a multiple or unlimited attempts. It's really up to your personal preference if you want to allow just a single attempt or more than one. One caution is if you only allow a single attempt, if a student uploads an incorrect file, you'll have to go in and delete that file and then allow the student to submit a second time. But completely up to you. This plagiarism tool is called SafeAssign. If you used Turnitin in Angel, that is not available in Blackboard Learn. We'll be using SafeAssign. And right in the Dropbox, you can do some checking for potential plagiarism. And we'll do that here. Is this Dropbox will then allow, it will do the checking for a similarity report. And I always like to allow students to view that originality report as well. And then that gives them the chance to make a correction. And then this third option is an important option to exclude the submission from the database. Meaning, if this is, for instance, a draft submission for a draft assignment, then you'd want to exclude this submission from the database, because once the final essay is then submitted, it would look like it was 100% plagiarized, because it would be comparing its own original submission, its draft submission, to this final. So I'm going to exclude it in this case, just because I'm going to call this drafts up here is what I'll do. And then I could create another Dropbox for a final. And because it's a draft, I think I will allow multiple attempts. Or actually, I'll allow unlimited attempts. And then I've got some grading options here. So I'm going to click on grading options. Things like anonymous grading or delegated grading, which is something I'm not going to get into details right now. More likely than not, the majority of instructors here will be doing their own grading. But just to know that those options are there, and they'll be discussed. If you have questions, you can always contact Justin Frisk or me, Susan Galanis, and we can go over those options with you. Then the other option is how you would like the grade to be displayed to the student. You can choose a score, you can choose a letter grade, a percentage, a variety of options as a primary score, and if you wanted to show a secondary score, for instance, maybe a letter, if you were using a grading schema, which we'll talk about near the end, you could have that if you want. And then you have options of including it in the grade center calculations or not, and then allowing the students to see it in their grades. And again, the standard availability options, making it available for the students to see, and you could have it open and close during a certain time frame. When you're all done, then you'll click Submit. And here it is, this draft test essay, number 4. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move it one more time. I'm going to put it in my Unit 4 folder just to show the Move feature one more time. So next to that title, I clicked on the down arrow. I clicked on Move. I'm clicking on Browse. I'm going to put it in my Unit 4 folder. And there we have it in the Unit 4 folder. Once a student submits an assignment, this is a big difference between Angel and Blackboard Learn. Is in Angel, you are probably used to clicking on the drop box and viewing submissions. And in Blackboard, you will not be clicking on the drop box. That is only for setting up the drop box and making edits to the settings if you like. Once students submit assignments, you actually will go down here under Course Management. There's a link called Grade Center. And then you can click on Needs Grading, that link. And then here you'll see some submissions by the students. And I am going to go to this submission right here and just click on it. And now this is a real nice feature of the drop boxes or assignments in Blackboard Learn, is for things like papers, for documents. It could be a Word document, it could be a PDF, it could be a rich text file. These files will open for you and you can do the grading right in Blackboard Learn without having to download and save and rename the file. And it's called Inline Grading. And to do that, here's the paper as you can see. And I can make comments right in this paper if I want. So if I click on Comment, then I could insert a variety of comment types. I'm just going to do, I like the area comment. If I notice something in an entire paragraph, I get these crosshairs, and I can just pull and drag over an area, and then I can comment on that entire area. I'll show you one more. Another is a point comment. So if I click, and then wherever I click my mouse, it's going to point at this area, and I can include a comment there. I have other options too. I can click on Draw, and I can draw with different colors. I'm going to choose blue, and you can draw right on the document. Maybe you wanted to circle something. I could highlight something. And here I can highlight and then maybe do a point comment with that highlighted area. And with any of these, if I go in and I make a comment and if I decide I want to remove it, then I can just click Delete and I can get rid of my comment. And it's gone. So that's inline grading. Then when I'm all done grading, I can click on the score over here on the right column, and I can enter a score. And then I have another opportunity to enter feedback in this feedback box that's going to show up in the My Grades. And then if I had a rubric attached, in this case I do, and like I said, we'll cover rubrics in a different video, but I have the opportunity to bring up the rubric and grade from that. When I'm all done, I've got my comments on my paper, I entered some additional feedback, and I entered the grade, then I can click Submit. And before I click Submit, let's say I was doing making some comments, I wasn't quite done, and I had to run out of the office for some reason, I could just click Save Draft, and it will save the comments for me, and I can come back and finish up later, and the student will not see them. But I am all done here, and I can click Submit, and now the grade will be submitted to the gradebook, and the student will have that access to that in my grades, my feedback, as well as the grade itself. If you have enabled Safe Assign, you can view the originality report right here where the score would go. Here you see the Safe Assign link, and you click on that. And then it expands a box where you can view the originality report. Here you can see right above it, in this case it was a 100% match to something in the database, probably because I pulled this essay off the internet. So I'm going to click on View Originality Report, and it will show up. You can see on the right there's that column. You can see the percentage of match, percentage that matches what is in the Safe Assign database. And here you can see the number of sources. In this case, the entire paper is from one source off of the internet. The source is highlighted in the paper. If there was anything that wasn't a match, it would display in white. And that opened up into a new tab, and when you're through looking, then you can just close that page. So now that it's graded, I'm going to go back and show you a couple more things about the Grade Center. Now last time we clicked on Needs Grading, or previously, and you can see what I just graded, it's completed, so now it's removed from the My Grading link. We're going to look now at the Full Grade Center. That's the link right underneath Needs Grading. And once you click on View Full Grade Center, you'll see columns for the student names, you'll see some scores. And one thing that is different between Angel and Blackboard is in Angel you would set up the Grade Center first, enter the names of your assignments and the categories, and assign weights to the categories. In Blackboard Learn, it's just the opposite, where you will go in, add your content, create your drop boxes, create discussion forums, all of your gradable items. You would create them first in the content area. And by doing so, certain things are done for you in the gradebook. For example, I have a few content items here, Essay 1, Essay 2, Essay 3, and I didn't have to create those columns because as I created these drop boxes, these are drop boxes I called essays, by entering points as I created that assignment or drop box, then it creates a column for me automatically in the gradebook. And then once you're done adding those gradable items, then you can go in and make some final adjustments for the gradebook. And that's what we're going to do right now. I'm first going to show you how to create a percentage-based gradebook, and then I'll go over how to create a points-based gradebook. So here again is viewing a full grade center, and I'm just going to scroll here, and there's that scroll bar, and you can scroll back and forth to see all of the items. And you can see there's that draft test essay 4. As things are added, they're just added to the very end. And I'll show you how you can move those later. What I'm going to do now is first create a category and then a column for grading things that would be graded manually. For example, if you give a pencil and paper exam in class, that isn't something that the students turn in, but you'll want to create a column in the gradebook so that you can enter a grade. Another example is participation. That's nothing that the students turn in, most likely, so you will want to create a category and a column to grade that participation. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this Manage here, and then I'm going to go to Categories. Because with a percentage-based gradebook, we do have categories, and then we have assignments that are connected to those categories. Before I create that category, I just want to show you a couple of things that are done automatically. So here on the right are the columns for the graded assignments, the Dropbox for Essay 1, Essay 2, Essay 3. and then that draft essay 4, just pretend I wanted to grade it. All of those automatically connect to this default category called assignment. And then I happen to have a discussion forum in here that automatically connects to a category called discussion. And then there's a couple other defaults here that are here in Blackboard, so that as you create those items in the content area, it automatically connects it to a category for you, which you can alter, but it makes it easy for you to do some of that work before having to connect all of your assignments to categories. So getting back to participation, I'm going to create a category called participation. And you just name it and click submit. So now there's my participation category, but now I need to make a column in the gradebook to connect to it so I can enter a participation grade. So to do that, and I'm going to go to create a column, and I'm going to call this participation, I'm going to say it's midterm. If you have a 16-week semester, then maybe assigning participation halfway through gives students a good idea of how they're doing in the course. And then you could create another column for participation final. So I named my column, and then I can choose what I want to display it as, either a score or a percentage. I'm going to leave it as score for now. And here's where I'll choose my category. And I'm going to click on that drop down, and there's the participation category that I just created. Then I'll assign points. I'm just going to make it easy and make it 100. When you're done, you'll click submit. And now I'm going to scroll all the way to the right, because as new things are added, they're added to the right. And there's my participation midterm. You can't see the entire name, but if you look above where it says last saved, and then look to the left, you'll see it shows the points possible. The entire name is participation midterm, and it's connected to the participation category. And I could do the same thing to make a participation final. So you can also, if there are assignments here and you want to change the category that it's connected to, then you can go up to the title of your category. There's that little arrow that drops down to the right, and I can click on that. Then I can click on Edit Column Information. And here I could change my displays. And then here's that category where the default is assignment, or the drop box. Then I could change it to something else. Maybe I wanted to change it to a project or something like that. I could change it. In this case, I'm not going to, but that is where you make those changes. When you're done making your changes, then you'll hit submit. So that's adding a new category and creating a column in the Grade Center. Now when I'm all done adding my content, adding my gradable items, I do want to look one last time to make sure that all of my graded items or gradable items are attached to the categories that I want them to be attached to. So I'm going to go up here again to this Manage. I'm going to click on Categories. And now again, I can check one last time to make sure everything lines up as I like. So I have a test here, and there's my test. I've got a couple projects, a couple of gradable items here attached to projects. Here's the participation category I created, and that participation midterm column is attached to it, and my discussion, and then my few assignments. Okay, so when things look right and your assignments are lined up with your categories as you like them, then we can go and do our final steps for a percentage-based gradebook. And you'll notice here on the bottom right, there's this OK button. That's a real quick and easy way to navigate back to the previous screen. One thing that I don't recommend is to use the back button in your browser. That has the potential to undo some of the work that you just did. So look for that OK button on the bottom right, or you can navigate here through this course menu through these links. So now we're going to make a weighted column that will weight the different percentages for the different categories in this course. And if you scroll to the left, you will see a column called Weighted Total. And that is a default column. And if you click on the arrow to the right of it, you can click on Edit Column Information. And you could add a description if you like. And what you'll do is you'll scroll down here near the bottom where it says to select columns, and you will actually go to this bottom box where it says categories to select, and then you'll go through and you'll actually select the categories that you are using in your course. For example, I'm not doing any surveys or any blogs, so I can just ignore those. The students don't see them, and I'm not going to put them in my weighting for my categories. But I do have an assignment category. I've got a test. I've got a discussion. And I'm going to scroll down here. I've got projects, and I've got participation. So I held down the control key as I clicked on all of those. And then I'm going to click on this arrow, and I'm going to move those items over to the right. Now I can go through and weight the different categories for the percentages. So if I have a test here, let's say I want that to be worth 20% of the overall grade. Discussions, maybe 20%. Projects, let's say that's 30%. And one thing to notice that if you have, for instance, projects or assignments and they're in one category but they're worth different point values, then if you put them in a category, you'll want them to be weighted proportionally so that it is calculated correctly. If you have something in a category, for instance, projects, and everything has the same point value, then you can leave the default as them being weighted equally. You've got these other options here where you could drop the lowest grade or the highest grade, things like that. Then I've got my participation. Say that's 10%. And then I have my assignment category. Let's just say that's 20%. Then make sure that your total weight equals 100%. And then scroll to the bottom and click Submit. And now you have an overall weighted total for all the categories in your course. One last thing to do for your percentage-based gradebook is if you have something like participation or maybe several assignments that are in that assignment category. In Angel, there were columns that would calculate those categories on a running total to get that overall score or percentage just for that category. And those columns are not automatically created in Blackboard Learn, but you can create them if you like. For instance, I've got 2 projects in my project category. So I'm going to create a weighted column just for projects so students know overall how well they're doing in the project category. So again, I'm going to go up to Create Calculated Column, and now Weighted Column. Then I'll name my column. In this case, I'm going to put the word overall in caps so students don't confuse, and I don't confuse, the category column and the individual assignment column. So I'm going to call this Overall Projects. And again, I can choose Primary Display, Percentage, or Score. And then I'm going to go down to my Projects category, click on that, and move just that one over. And because we just want that running total on how the student is doing just on this category, we'll enter 100% and click Submit. So now I have a weighted column just for that category, and you'll see as columns are added, they're added to the far right. And you can move those around. So to move your columns and reorder them, you'll click up here to Manage and click on Column Organization. Now here you can do several things. There are some default columns that I've actually already hidden, but you can show them or hide them. For instance, if I wanted to show username, I could click on that column, which they're all listed as lines from top to bottom, and the columns would be left to right. Click on that, and then go up here to show or hide. It's already hidden, so if I want to show it, then instead of being grayed out, the text is in black, and then I would click submit, and that column would then be shown. I'm going to let it be hidden, so I'm going to change that back. The other thing that I can do from this column organization window is I can move columns around. Now that overall projects column, my weighted column for the category, it's on the bottom here because that reflects it being far to the right in that full grade center view. So I can take my mouse, click on that line, and just move it up to the top. And so then I can just move it, and then when I'm all done moving or hiding and showing the different columns, then I can click submit. And if I scroll over, now you can see that overall projects column is here, and I've moved it. So that's rearranging columns. Now and that also takes care of setting up a percentage-based gradebook. And for a points-based gradebook, it is, there's just a few steps that are not needed. For the weighted total, you actually can hide this weighted total because that's for percentages only. So if you wanted to hide this column from the users, if it was just a points-based gradebook, click on that arrow and you click hide from instructor view. That means you can't see it, the students can't see it. And what's left here, this is another default column, is the total column. And that's just going to do a running total of points. And that's all you need to do for the points-based gradebook. Although there are fewer steps in creating a points-based gradebook, we really recommend creating a percentage-based gradebook. That way, with the different categories and the running total of the categories and their percentages, students have a sense of how one assignment or a test and other things that are graded, how they relate to the whole. And that's a very clear way of conveying expectations and communicating with your students. Whichever type of gradebook you choose to set up, either percentage-based or points-based, the column that shows the overall score or percentage, you'll want to make that viewable to the students. And to do that, you'll change what's called setting it to the external grade. In this case, this is a points-based gradebook, so I'm going to set this total column and set that as the external grade. So again, I'll hover at the top of the column. I'll see that drop-down arrow and click on it. Then it says set as external grade. I'll click on that, and then you'll see this green check mark. That means that that is set as the external grade that the students can see. If you used a percentage-based gradebook, you would do that very same thing, but you would do that on the weighted total column. The last thing we'll do with the grade center is a grading schema. If you choose to show as a view a letter grade, then you'll need to adjust the grading schema to have it match the letter grade and grading scale that you are using in your course. And to do that, you'll click on Manage, then you'll click on Grading Schemas, and you could create a grading schema. Okay, so this letter grading schema is the default. However, it doesn't match any of the Concordia University grading schemas. It's just a default that was put in by Blackboard. We're having it looked into to see if we can make the default different. primarily the main difference being that the first grade listed, or I've already changed it, but the first grade listed in the default grading schema is an A+, and Concordia University doesn't use A+. So we're working to change that. In the meantime, if you go into this letter grade and click Edit, you can take out the A+, and then you can change this grading schema to whatever matches your course. For instance, if 93 to 100 is an A, that's fine, and then the low end of your scale would be what you would enter on the left. So let's say my A- is going to be 85 to 93. Then it automatically changes. It knows for the next line that anything between something and 85. So let's just say 82. And you can see then it changes it to the next line to nothing higher than 82. So you can go through and just change your grading schema to match your course. So you will, once you put your numerical scores in there, the low end of your grading scale for each half grade, then you can go in and put the letter grade in there, and then the midpoint is just chosen automatically, which you could change that midpoint. If you, for instance, if you entered a C into the grade book, then it would just put that 75 in the grade for you. Chances are, though, you will probably use a percentage. Okay, when you're done with your grading scale and making that adjustment, you'll click Submit. And I'm actually going to cancel out of this only because my numbers don't line up correctly, and I'm not going to go through the trouble of making all the changes. But you will click Submit once you do that, and then you'll have your adjusted letter grade. Next, I will show you how to manually grade an assignment. For example, an exam that's done in class with pencil and paper, or something like class participation, where something is not turned in to Blackboard Learn. So to do that, you'll scroll to find the appropriate column. For instance, here is my participation for midterm. And to manually grade, you'll just click your mouse on the box and then enter the score. And click Enter. And that's all there is to it to manually grade an item. Then the next thing is to the student preview. And I'm going to go to my home page of my course. And in Angel, there were the sunglasses that you could click on for a student preview. In this case, in Blackboard Learn, near the top right corner, there's this circle or this dot, and then the arrows. It kind of looks like an eye to me. That's the student preview button. So if you click on that, it's going to enter student preview. And you get this bright indicator at the top, so you know you're in student preview. And you can see right away some things have changed. Underneath the course navigation menu or the course menu, the course management tools are not available to students. So you can see right away that that's part of the student view. Then I'm going to click on content. And you can see that those buttons for adding content are not available. If you had any hidden files that students would not be able to view, they would not be viewable here. That's part of the student preview. You could practice submitting an assignment if you wanted. And that's what it looks like for the students to view, to upload an assignment. I'm just going to cancel out of that. So it's helpful for you to be able to see what the student sees, or if the student has a question you could put on how to access something, you could use that student preview to see what they see in the course. When you're all done, then you can click Exit Preview. And it's going to ask you to remove any data. For instance, if you practiced uploading an essay into the Dropbox, then it's recommended that you delete that essay that was uploaded, since it's not a real student that it could be confusing for you later. So that's recommended to delete any data that was added as a student during the preview. You can click Continue. And now you're exiting Student Preview. And now it's back to your instructor view. Again, that course management at the bottom of the course menu reappears for you. The next thing that I will show you how to do is to add a user. Now you may have an instructor colleague that you will want to add to the course for some reason. We do not recommend, or you should not be adding students into the course. If they say they have enrolled in the course and they do not appear in the course, then you should refer them to the registrar. There could be some type of hold or something on their account that won't allow them to be added to the course. But if you did want to add a user, such as an instructor colleague, on the control panel, and I did that kind of quickly, click on Users and Groups, and then click on Users. And then here you'll see all the users in the course. That would be you as instructor, any of the students. And then to add someone, you would hover on this Enroll User and find users to enroll. Now here you could enter a username, but we recommend that you browse because people could have the same last name, and it could be very easy to accidentally enroll an incorrect user, or you may think you know their username and you could be incorrect. So I clicked on Browse, and then you could search by username. My preference is to search by last name. And then I typed in the last name, click on Go. And now here, there are quite a few. And if I wanted to see, now there are 75 items, but only 25. I could click on Show All to show all of them. And then I could then sort it by different things. And I'm going to sort it by first name. If I'm looking for Elizabeth Evans, I'm sorting by first name. And now, here's Elizabeth Evans. Now I can see where this is the Elizabeth Evans that I'm looking for, the one I just checked, because this is someone from my department. This username is a phone number, and I know that that means those are students. So I'm going to click on the one that I know, and I can then confirm it with an email address. I click the person I want to add, I'll click Submit, and now their username appears. Then I can choose their role. Default is student. In this case, I would want to add this person as an instructor. Then you click Submit, and they'll be added as a user. The next thing that I'd like to show you is how to open the course to students. Just a few clicks, but it's not the most intuitive process. And to open course to students, I'm going to click on Customization. Then I'm going to click on Properties. And I'm going to come down to Set Availability. Now I have this course open now, but yours would be the default when it comes over from Banner is the course is not open. So this Make Course Available will say no, and then you would click to Yes. Now I'm going to close the course just so you can see what it looks like when a course is not available, and then click Submit, and then we'll open it again. And here you'll see up here at the top, I'm going to go to the home page of the course. When you first log in, it will say Course is unavailable to students. And in your course homepage, it would say Course is unavailable, meaning course is unavailable to students. So I'll do that one more time, is Customization, and then click on Properties. Then Set Availability, you'll make it Yes, and then click Submit. And now that message goes away, and now I know the course is available to students. The last thing that I'll show you is how to download your grades to an Excel spreadsheet. If you want a record of grades outside of Blackboard Learn, I'll show you the steps. And to do that, you'll go to Grade Center. You'll go to Full Grade Center. And then you'll go to the right here, And this far right, it says Work Offline. Hover over that, and then you'll click on Download. You could set different options in terms of only selected columns. Default is Full Grade Center, which is what I will show you now. The only thing you need to change is under Options, it says Delimiter Type. Change that to comma. And then it's going to download to your computer. And click Submit. And now the file has been created. To download it, you'll just click the Download button. And it's going to download. It's a .csv file, and that will open in Excel. And now here are all the columns of the Grade Center and the grades. You can go ahead and adjust these columns to whatever suits your needs. And that's how you download the grades from Blackboard Learn into an Excel spreadsheet. So this concludes Blackboard Learn Basics. Please feel free to browse other videos that are available on the SELT blog. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, Susan Galanis, or Justin Frisk in the Center for Excellence in Learning and Teaching.